Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome back
to Horror Hideout and our final
psychological.
Yes, and this week is our book, Scowler by Daniel Kraus.
Yes. Would you say Kraus?
Yeah.
I always said Cross, but
I thought it was Kraus, but I don't know.
I'm sure you're right because I'm stupid.
USS. You are not. You're the librarian.
Well, I'm just bad at pronouncing things. Okay. So, spoiler free. It's about a young boy. I don't know what to go into for spoilers. Yeah.
19-year-old boy living on a family farm with his mom and his younger sister.
And a meteorite lands in their yard. Is it a meteorite? Like, is that the term?
Yes.
If it touches the ground, it's a meteorite? Because there's meteor...
She talks about that in the book.
Yeah.
It's a meteorite if it lands.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because there's meteor, meteoroid, and meteorite.
But there is a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, but that's all we're going to say for spoiler free. Yeah. So we're getting to spoilers now.
This is one of your favorite books, right?
Yeah, I think it was one of my first... Like, I mean, obviously I read Goosebumps and stuff when I was a kid, or like the Weenie stories, but I think this was my first foray into like real horror.
And you say that, and I went into it, which I've read it before, but I went into it thinking it was like not middle grade, but like Goosebumps, Christopher Pike.
Yeah.
Like, and it is not. It is very brutal, like grown up psychological.
It's still considered a young adult book, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have pegged it as that because of how dark it is.
Yeah.
But, I'm just going to throw this out there because in this book he has figures that he is friends with. There's Jesus Christ.
Which is like a rubber... It's like a, Stretch Armstrong. No, not exactly.
Kind of, but it doesn't stretch, so it's like one of those plastic, like...
bendy figures, yeah. Is it Gumby? Were his figures like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he got it for free at like a church thing or something like that. And then he's got...
Furrington.
Which is just a teddy bear.
Yeah. But he's not like a normal sized teddy bear. Like he's a pocket sized, like...
Yeah. Like 4 inches or something.
Teddy bear, yeah.
And then he has Scowler, which is a little doll that he fashioned himself. I know it's got metal in there. With the teeth and stuff.
He's very beat up and looks like he's got like boils on his face, and one of his legs he doesn't have a foot, it's just a metal like pipe sticking out. But so he has his friends, and one of my favorite books growing up, and I actually have a copy of it here in my library, was called There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom. And it is not a horror book, but the basis of that book is he's a little boy, not little, he's like probably junior high age, I don't remember, but maybe younger than that. But he has no friends. He has a rough home life, so he has these figures that are his friends.
That are animal figures, aren't they?
Yeah. So, it kind of touched my heart that kind of the, similar.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that was one of my favorite books growing up.
I remember there's another book that's called There's a Girl in the Boys' Bathroom. And you bought that for me on accident. Because you thought it was the one that you had read as a kid. But I think it was like something to do with basketball.
I don't even remember that one.
I don't think I ever read it.
I don't.
Anyway.
So Rye is 19. He has a younger sister, and what is her name?
I don't remember.
I just read this book.
I'm so bad with names.
So he has a younger sister, Sarah. A younger sister named Sarah. And
does it say her age in there? Or is it just kind of younger sister?
Well, Dad's been gone for 10 years. Sarah was a baby, so she's like 10 or 11.
Okay.
So we meet Rye. He lives at home on a farm with his mom and his sister, and the farm is not a working farm anymore. Like, everything is...
old and...
the fields are all dead.
Yeah.
They've had to get rid of their cows. Like, there's really nothing left.
Yeah, they pretty much got their empty barn.
And they have a broke down Well, it's broke down right now, but they have a broke down VW Bug. It's their family car. And I can already tell you, I'm not going to talk about this book in order of how the story, the book is written, but
it's one where you kind of jump around.
So we find out that Dad is in prison. And that's pretty much all we know.
Yeah.
We don't really know why. You don't really know what happened. You find out, but...
I was going to say, we learn it later.
So, Mom is trying to support her 2 kids by sewing projects and doing things like that, but...
Well, and another thing I want to mention is Rye's headaches.
Yeah.
Rye gets headaches a lot.
Yeah. But the town kind of sees them as outcasts. Like, they don't really want...
Yeah.
Rye is friends with the guy that runs the auto repair shop, but pretty much everybody else in town, like, they'll go to her for sewing projects, but they don't really want anything to do with their family.
Yeah.
They feel like, they talk about how his dad had like a special touch when it came to farming and fixing things. Yeah. And so now that he's in prison, they feel like he's the reason that the whole town is kind of struggling and gone under.
Like it's been tainted.
Yeah, and it's their fault. Which we'll get more into why they feel like it's their fault. But, so yeah, that's our cast of characters. I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Well, I think that's fine because you reread it for this podcast and I didn't have a chance to. But like you said, it's one of my favorite books, so I've read it more than once. So you might have to help me with some of the smaller details. So anyway.
Oh, and they have a dog, an old dog named Snickety.
Yeah. And we mentioned the meteor at the beginning, and it has not fallen yet.
No.
That doesn't happen until a little bit in.
So, they're kind of stuck on the farm. They're waiting for new spark plugs for the car. We have a scene where Rye's on a ladder and he's trying to fix his mom's window. She wants it to be able to open, but he just ends up nailing it shut because it's had issues for 10 years and he's tired of messing with it, so he just nails it shut.
Like rain and stuff has been leaking in.
Yeah, and so they hear this big boom and they don't really know what's going on, and so it's kind of, this first day is just kind of us learning the characters, and they're kind of working around the farm.
Yeah. And how they all kind of fit together.
I think this is where Rye's kind of walking around the farm, and he's talking about how, this 40 acres used to be part of this farm, and this 80 acres was this, and kind of getting us the lay of the land. And he talks about, and I'm not going to remember what they call them, but the woods. He talks about the woods. And you're not supposed to go in the woods.
Yeah.
And he also mentions the unmentionable 3.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they're called. But anyway, he mentions them. And so it's later that evening. Mom is in the house cooking, starting to make dinner, and Jeremiah is outside and he sees somebody walking down the road. Not Jeremiah. Rye is outside and he sees somebody walking down the road, so he goes out there and he talks to a guy named Jeremiah, and he's really thin, really malnourished. He's not clean. He's just kind of looks like what you'd think a hobo would look like.
Yeah.
And so Rye goes in and gets the mom, and the mom and Sarah come out, and she invites him in for dinner, and he's like, no, I'm fine. And she's like, no, please come in and have dinner with us, so...
Which reminds me of In the Road, whenever they find that old man and they offer him dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just what it makes me think of.
So Jeremiah decides that, yes, he will go in. He'll have dinner with him. And so as they sit down for dinner, they're kind of chit-chatting, and he doesn't really say where he came from. But then somehow the dad's name gets mentioned, and I wish I could remember his name. I'm awful with names in books.
Me too.
But he, the dad's names gets mentioned, and he's like, wait, you're his family? And he tells them that the dad is actually not at the prison they thought he was in. He is at another one that is
closer.
Not like 20, maybe 10 or 20 miles away from their house.
Yeah.
And so he tells them the big explosion that they heard was something happening at the prison and that he had escaped from the prison. Well, something he says upsets the mom, and so she's like, you can't spend the night here now. Like, they give him clean clothes and they send him on his way. And so, that's pretty much. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. Sarah is very into astronomy type stuff. And there is getting ready to be a meteor shower. And so it's not that night, but she keeps so during the day she's watching the sky, and he's like, you're not gonna be able to see anything in the daylight, and she's like, I don't care, I might. And so anyway, so Martin, thank you. So Jeremiah leaves, and
Martin is the dad.
Yeah, and so Jeremiah leaves, and so it's just kind of, again, we're back to just kind of them trying to go about their day, and
but it's kind of eating away at them.
Yeah, and so the next morning, Mom is on the phone, and so we find out that she had been getting letters from him, what did you say his name is? Martin. But she opened the first one and it really upset her, so she stopped opening them.
Yeah.
So he had actually been moved from, we find this out from Jeremiah, from the prison he was at to another prison, and then to the one closer to home. He bit somebody's nose off at the first prison. He murdered somebody at the second prison, and so they put him at this third prison. And so the next morning, she's calling these different places to find out if it's true that he's really close by. And she's also calling, which she finds out, yes, that's true. And then she's also calling people in town to figure out if they know what the big boom was. And nobody they may know, but they don't want to tell her, which, again, she's kind of the pariah of the town, I guess. And so...
Which, when we find out later what the dad did, that's just terrible.
Yeah. So throughout all of this, we're kind of getting flashbacks of part of Rye's childhood and how his dad treated him and stuff. And his
dad was emotionally and physically abusive to all of them.
He was just not a good guy.
But he was to all of them. But it seemed like he had a special focus on Rye because Rye was the son and the man of that, was supposed to be like the man of the house after him and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's also pretty awful to the mom.
I know.
I think that scene will live in my head forever.
Yeah.
So then it's nighttime again, and so I want to go back before we get into the next part. I want to go back and talk through, because like we said, the book is, these memories are kind of spread throughout the book, but I want to talk about his childhood. So, of course, Sarah's little, but
like a baby.
Yeah, and so Martin thought that he should be able to support his family, and that the mom, what is the mom's name, do you know?
Is it Beth?
Yes. That Beth shouldn't do anything, like, she loves to
Is it
sew.
Joe Beth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she loves to sew.
Yeah.
But he thought that it made him look less manly, or less, like, he wasn't able to take care of his family if she did sewing jobs.
If she sold, or I mean, if she took money for sewing stuff.
Yes, which is completely stupid. But
yeah.
Some men are like
I was going to say, some men actually hold that opinion.
So if he would catch her with sewing projects, she would get punished.
Yeah.
And so there's a part where, I keep saying scene, I don't know if you call them scenes in books, but
I would.
there's a chapter where Rye can hear, it's nighttime, Rye can hear him and the mom and dad arguing in the bedroom. He can hear the mom crying. The next morning he gets up, Martin leaves, says that the mom's sick, and to leave her alone. So Rye's trying to take care of Sarah all day long.
Yeah.
And he finally goes and knocks on the door, and she's like, I'm really sick, don't come in. Well, he goes to go in, and the door's locked.
Yeah.
And so he goes, this kind of happens throughout the day. He's taking care of Sarah. He goes and, keeps trying to check on his mom and stuff, and she keeps saying she's sick. Well, then he finally gets tired of it, and he gets a ladder, and he's like 10 at this time.
Yeah.
And he climbs
in that broken window that we talked about before. This is the
last time the window actually opened,
yeah.
Right? To find that Martin has sewn her to the bed.
Yes, like to the mattress. And she's like soiled herself because she's been stuck here this whole time, and like it talks about how like the way her ear is like stretched out to be sewn to the bed and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty gruesome.
Like, the whole entire left side of her body, from her, you mentioned her ear, her breast, her thigh.
Yeah.
Like all the way down her left side is sewn to the mattress, and she's naked. And like you said, she's messed herself. And so Martin, at 10 years old, has to cut his mom free from this mattress. And there's times throughout the book
and I don't remember for sure, but doesn't she tell him not to do it because it'll make Martin mad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's times throughout the book where he'll mention, like, he can see the sun through the holes in her ears. And just, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. And so, this is why Martin ends up in prison, because Rye's had enough. And he's like, we're not doing this anymore. And he tries to get Joe Beth to take Sarah and leave, and he goes after Martin.
And he takes his 3 people.
Yes.
He takes Jesus, and so it's not only that he has Jesus, Mr. Furrington, and Scowler, but it's almost like they embody him.
I don't think we know that yet. Like,
okay.
We don't really know that until after he's been in the woods with him.
Okay.
Because after he's been in the woods is where they actually like start talking to him. And
stuff.
But we didn't talk about the baseball bat. Do you remember the baseball bat?
Not really.
So before this part had happened, we learned that Martin had bought Rye a redwood baseball bat for him to practice baseball with. Well, then Martin ended up taking the bat away, and that was what he would beat Joe and Rye with.
Yeah. I do remember that now.
And so Rye gets the bat and goes after Martin. And I can't remember, Martin's out working in the barn or something. I don't know what he's doing. But so Martin ends up turning on Rye and chasing through these woods.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they called the woods, but anyway.
I don't remember.
And so this is when Jesus, Furrington, and Scowler actually start talking to Rye.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's an overnight chase. Like, we're talking 5 or 6 hours. And
he's just out there in the woods. I think is he barefoot?
He's not dressed for... I can't remember if he's barefoot. I think he is. No, I don't think he is. I don't remember.
But he's not dressed for the weather. Yeah.
And so, okay. So, I was wrong. I'm sorry. They were going... Joe had told Rye that they were going to leave. And she said, just grab what you can get, we're leaving. And so he had stuck his pockets full of army men.
Yeah.
And he figured out when he only had those 3 left that was how Martin was able to track him so easy, was because those he put them in his pockets and he put them in his underwear and they
were
kept
falling out. Yeah.
So it was like, he said it was better than breadcrumbs. So he's in the woods overnight, like 6 or 8 hours, and it's cold. And Martin finally catches up to him and hits him in the head with the baseball bat. And he just happens to be able to crawl to a farm. He's really close to this farm.
Yeah.
And so that's actually why Martin ends up in prison.
Yeah, was all this.
Yes. And so
then we get Rye in school.
Well, before that,
Okay.
I just want to mention this. So the doctor had told, this is important later on, the doctor had told Joe to keep him away from magnets or anything with a powerful magnetic pull because of the damage to his brain.
Did they put a metal plate in his head?
Not that I remember.
Okay. That must be something else I'm thinking of. But anyway, so when he's in school, the only figures he has left that were in his pocket or the only toys he had left was Furrington, Scowler, and Jesus. Which is why he is so attached to these. When he's in school, Jesus helps him out with history, Mr. Furrington helps him out with English, and Scowler's really good at math.
Yeah.
But
they also he also starts seeing a therapist.
That's what I was going to say. But I can't, it's almost like him getting hit in the head, split his psyche.
Yeah.
Into these three toys that were with him.
Yeah.
Because to him, he was surviving out there and everything abandoned him except for these three toys.
Yeah.
Is kind of where his mind's at.
Right. And his therapist even tells him at one point, she's the one that kind of triggers this with him, that, there are three parts of you. Jesus only says things from the Lord's Prayer because that's the only Bible verse he knows.
Yeah.
And so...
And Jesus talks like thou and stuff like that. Yeah.
She mentions that too.
And is it Furrington British?
Yeah, and then Furrington, she's like, I've never actually heard a British person say crackers, like as an expression, like crackers. So yeah. So, Martin, so now we're back in present day.
Yeah.
And, well, let's finish up with his childhood. So, he's doing really well in school, but he's not really got any friends. He's not, he's not really getting anywhere with anything. And so the therapist tells his mom she needs to he gets to the point where he doesn't have to have them with him all the time. And so he's at home and he goes to do something and he doesn't take them with him. And when he comes back to get them, they're gone. And his mom has burnt them because the therapist told him to.
Yeah.
Which kind of broke him again.
It sets him back a lot, yeah.
So,
which if I was a therapist or whatever, I don't think I would tell them to do that. I mean, I'm not a... But I would think if he's already mentally messed up and he's attached to these items, it'd be like burning a real person he knows.
Well, and he was making progress.
He
was getting better.
Yeah. He was not taking them everywhere.
Yeah. So I kind of agree with you. I don't think I would have done that, but that'd be like somebody. Well, I won't say that; it might embarrass you, but
what?
Your Dora blanket.
that doesn't embarrass me.
So when
I was a kid.
So when Dawson was little, and I mean little, he got a Mickey Mouse blanket from his great grandma for Christmas, and his sister got a Dora the Explorer blanket for Christmas, and somehow they ended up switching. And so that would have been like me taking Dawson's security blanket out and burning it because somebody told me it wasn't safe for him to have.
And I was thinking of Linus from Peanuts with his blanket.
Yeah. Do you know the only time he lets his blanket go?
Is when he's quoting scripture. So anyway, back to the actual story. Is that everything about his childhood that...
Pretty much. You mentioned the headaches. That's kind of an ongoing thing throughout the whole thing. But so pretty much he has helped raise Sarah.
Yeah.
And Joe is making ends meet by...
He's taken on a lot of the farm chores.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep the farm going.
There's really not much left now.
No.
I mean, they don't have any cows or anything.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember if it's the next day or a couple days later or something, but Martin shows up at the house.
Yes. And he tries to just act like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Pretends he's been home the entire time. Yeah. And the only one that will stand up to him is Sarah.
Yeah, and Rye is he is mad at Rye though for letting the farm go to crap. He says it's all his fault.
You're the man of the house now and you're supposed to...
Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't really know how I would feel as a mom if my ex-husband... I don't have an ex-husband that's in prison, but if my ex-husband that had been in prison for trying to murder my son showed back up at the house, I don't know how I would... Oh, and we didn't mention this. They were actually getting ready to... Oh, so they had decided they were leaving the farm. Sarah had a plan for... Not Sarah. Joe Bath had a plan for them to go to a city. She already had a couple options for places for them to live. So this night, it might be the same night that Jeremiah is there.
I think it is.
She gives them all their Christmas presents and stuff, and they do like pancakes for dinner and just kind of celebrate. And they're gonna leave the next morning.
And one thing I do want to mention is, and I know there's quite a few books that do this, but the way we know how much time has passed is we are getting a countdown until the meteor shower.
Yeah.
That Sarah has been talking about that she's excited for.
Yeah. So, and it's actually this night that the meteor.
Yes.
So they have a celebration. She's outside trying to watch, which she's not outside. I take that back. She's starting to get sick, and so Joe Beth won't let her go outside. So she's sitting at the window watching for the meteor storm to come through. And so then Martin shows up, and he's just kind of a bad guy.
Yeah, and he says something to Joe Beth about like make dinner or something like that, and ends up we're gonna eat dinner as a family is basically what he says.
He's mad the house is a mess because there's wrapping paper everywhere and there was syrup spilled on the table. He basically says this was my house and my property and you guys have ruined it.
Yeah. And he basically acts like they're his property too.
Yeah. So she just kind of does what he wants and is hoping that they can get away.
Yeah.
But I want to say there's a for sale sign in the yard, so he's upset
about
that too.
Yeah.
So, Sarah's on the couch. She's not feeling very good. And he starts to go after Rye.
Yeah.
And then the meteor hits in their backfield.
And another thing to mention about the dad is, I don't know if we find it out here, but I'm just going to mention it now. He also gets headaches.
Yes.
Like, Martin gets headaches like Rye does.
Yeah.
And doesn't the meteorite, doesn't it go through the top of the barn and then go into the ground?
No. It's just out in one of the fields.
Okay. I'm thinking of something else then. But Martin, after the meteorite hits, he decides that the meteorite is going to be worth money, and so he's going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
But he tries to touch it, and it basically, like, melts the flesh off of his hand. I mean, not entirely, but...
That's not Martin. That's Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, he tells them they're going to go get this out, so he has... So, as soon as Jeremiah left earlier... Rye kept asking his mom where their shotgun was at. And she's like, I don't even know if it would still work. It's not been used in so long. I'll get it in the morning. Well, Martin knows exactly where it is, so he's got the shotgun.
Yeah.
And so he makes the whole family go out to the
meteorite.
Meteorite.
I'm going to say meteorite. I don't know if that's right, but...
And
I think it's meteorite in space, meteor in the atmosphere, meteorite on the ground, but I'm not confident in that. It might be meteor in space.
Sarah says it in the book. I just can't remember. Because she corrects him. Because, like you said, she's the only one that... She's not scared of him because she doesn't remember anything. So, he's threatening Joe Beth and Sarah with the gun. So, Rye goes down into the pit to try to get the meteor, And it's too big and it's really hot and... He, like, when they get close to it, he starts having these really bad headaches.
Yeah.
Like, horrible, like, can't hear. And one thing they talk about earlier on in, like, the flashback part was the dad always hummed.
Yeah.
He had this certain tune that he hummed. And so when they're by the meteorite, Rye can't even make out what his dad's saying. He just hears that hum that he used to do when he was a kid.
And the way that the meteorite's described, it does kind of remind me of The Color Out of Space by H.P. Lovecraft.
I haven't read that one.
Well, the story in that one, it takes place after everything's happened, and it's this researcher that's kind of putting together the pieces of what happened in this. I think it's a town, but basically a meteorite landed and it caused like stuff to mutate around it and stuff like that. But just the way it's described is like the thing that came out of space. Just because this talks about how it makes him feel and stuff like that. That is what reminds me of The Color Out of Space. Anyway,
So Sarah decides she wants to go down there, and she actually touches it, and she burns herself.
Yeah.
So they go back to the house, and Sarah's just not feeling good. So she lays down on the couch. They get her ice for her hand because she's burnt.
And Martin mentions a couple things like, oh, you could put half an onion on it or vinegar, and Joe Beth actually somewhat, not really, but kind of stands up to him and is like, no, we're just going to do ice.
Yeah. She says they don't have those things.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, she says no home remedies.
Rye takes her Tylenol, and he's got a headache, and so she takes one, but she makes him take the other one.
And it's even though that she's the younger sibling, it's like she also has to make Rye take care of himself.
Yeah. And they're just sweet together. Like, they give each other heck, but they're still, at the end of the day, you know.
Reminds me of me and my little sister.
Yeah. I hope you don't call each other the names they call each other in the book, though.
No.
Some of them are pretty bad. So Martin makes this grand plan that they're going to take no, that's not yet. Oh, yeah. They're going to take the bug out, and they're going to pull the
meteorite out of the crater.
But Rye has to tell him that, hey, we don't have spark plugs.
Yeah.
We're waiting on them to be delivered by Finney. And so the next day, that night and everything, she makes dinner, they eat.
Well, and Martin
kind of trying to be like a normal family.
In here, Martin talks about how he got out of prison.
Yes.
So he was in his cell, and there was that loud boom that they had heard, and a meteorite came through his cell.
He was actually in
the pool room, the stuff with like the pool tables and stuff, like the entertainment room, right?
I thought he was in like the bathroom.
Maybe.
Because the one guy was at the urinal, and he said he would have been there.
Yeah.
Whatever room he was in, there was a guy in there, and if he had been in that spot instead of Martin had been in that spot, it would have killed Martin.
Yeah.
And so that's how they got out, was
It broke open to the outside, but it also broke open into that like entertainment room I'm talking about that has pool cues and pool balls and that kind of stuff in there, and they use those as weapons to get out.
And so Joe Beth is trying to convince him that what's he gonna do with this meteor, even if he can sell it, because you're an escaped convict.
Yeah.
It's like you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Who's gonna buy it from you? You know.
And he's basically like, I'm gonna sell it on the black market.
Yeah, and so they're just kind of biding their time until they can
get the spark plugs.
And so it's the next day, and he's pretty much keeping them hostage.
And one thing I do want to mention, I mentioned the thing where it's counting down to the meteor shower, and they call it impact, is what it says. And then after that, for the rest of the book, it's like an hour after impact, 24 hours after impact. Like it keeps going with that.
Yeah. And so the next day I don't even know. Like he's really trying to go after Rye, and Joe Beth just keeps trying to distract him with different stuff. And then there's a knock at the front door. And so he points the gun at Rye, and Sarah's still sick on the couch. And he points the gun at Rye, and he tells Joe Beth, he's like, get rid of whoever it is. Well, it's the guy with the spark plugs. And so I might have mentioned this, but he's pretty much Rye's only friend.
Yeah.
And so he won't listen, and he's trying to push his way into the house.
To see Rye.
Yeah, and so Martin sends Rye out there, and Rye kind of blows up at him, and he's like, you know, I already got the spark plugs from somebody else. I don't need you. You took too long. Like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
And he knew that the way he was doing it, Finney would know there was something wrong.
Yes.
And so Finney's like, well, you still owe me the money. You still have to pay at least pay for him. And so he's trying to get in the house, and Rye's like, no, you have to leave. Like, we don't need him. Go away. Take him with you. And so he leaves, and Martin is mad. Like, we needed those spark plugs. And Rye's like, he was going to come in the house if I took those. Like, And so they're kind of arguing back and forth, and then Martin gets tackled from behind, and Finney has snuck around to the back door.
Yes.
And we kind of get the impression, like, Martin, based on the picture on the front of the book, he looks like the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Walter White.
Yeah.
He's got the kind of the trimmed beard and the bald head and
yeah,
and the glasses.
Actually, mentioning that, I don't remember when in the book that happened. Oh, I do remember. That's not yet. So, Finney and Martin get into this fight, and they end up out in the front yard, and Martin murders Finney with a lamp.
Yeah.
And takes the spark plugs.
Yes.
And fixes the bug so they can get it out of the crater.
Yes. The meteorite.
What did I say?
You just said get it out of the crater, so I'm just clarifying. Because
Um,
you said fix the bug and get it out of the crater, and so that makes it sound like it's the bug, but they're getting the meteorite out of the crater with the bug.
Keep up with me. So we think Sarah's really sick. Like, she's just pale. She's not doing well at all.
I think she's sweating pretty bad.
Still got the burn on her arm, and so they get the car fixed, and Joe Beth is like, I need to take her to the hospital. Like, this burn is bad. I need to take her to the hospital. And he's like, no, she's going with us to
Do they mention radiation?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they ever mention it by name.
Because I think that a lot of what is going on is from the radiation.
I do too, but I just don't
think
they ever name it.
I know you mentioned that Rye went down there by the meteor, but I don't think you mentioned he's hearing, like, voices talking to him.
Yeah.
Like hearing someone say hello and stuff like that while he's down there.
Yeah. And so, Joe Beth finally convinces him that they can leave Sarah at home. She's not going anywhere while they go to the back 40. Or if that's what they call it, but to where the meteorite's at and get it out of this hole. And so Rye goes over and whispers to Sarah and tells Sarah, you have to run.
Yeah.
Like, run to...
Get out of here, yeah.
Run to their nearest neighbor's house. I don't remember what their name are, but run to the neighbor's house.
Is it the one with the daughter that he almost slept with?
No, that's where she ends up going, but that's not where he tells her to go.
Okay.
Because, so, the one you're talking about, they're closest, but they live, like, through fields and stuff to get there, so he was just sending her down the road because she didn't feel very good. So, they get out to the meteor, they're hooking up this chain to the meteorite, and Rye sees Sarah sneak out.
Yeah.
But Sniggity sees her and starts barking and acting crazy. And Sniggity's the dog. I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
I think barking probably.
I was gonna say
So she goes and hides behind this tree and talks about how she's not skinny. The tree's too skinny to really block her. So if you looked hard enough, you could see her arms. But she's trying hard to hide behind this tree. And Joe Beth sees what's going on, and so she's trying to distract Martin too. And so they finally get enough of a break where she escapes. And Rye goes back down in the hole and he puts this chain around the meteorite, and they get it most of the way out. And then the bug gets stuck in a I don't know what they call it, but kind of like a ditch.
Okay, so I'm flipping through the book here, and I found the part where he talks about his cell getting the meteorite through it. And he says, it turned the east end of my cell to chalk, and you climbed out. What else? Only it was up, Joe. I climbed up. And then he says, the ceiling's what fell in. That's what buried the professor. If I'd used the toilet first, it would have been me.
There you go. I knew there was an urinal or toilet or something in there.
There was a game room directly above my cell. So anyway.
So they've got this meteorite kind of dangling, and the bug's stuck, and they're trying to... So anyway, they work on this for a while. They finally get it out. They finally get the bug unstuck and get the meteorite mostly up. and then it falls back in the hole. And it breaks off a piece of the meteorite. And so, pretty much the rest of the book, Martin is carrying this piece of the meteorite. To me, it's like a sliver, because it's kind of the length of the shotgun, and he's carrying it in the same hand as the shotgun. And so they go back to the house to try to come up with another plan. And he makes Rye stay with him in the bathroom while he shaves. And then he also shaves Rye's head and gives him, like, shaves everything but leaves a mustache, so he looks pretty much identical to his dad. And that kind of freaks Rye out. Like, he doesn't want to look like him.
And before that happened, though, he saw Furrington again.
That was before that happened?
Yes.
I thought that was after.
No, it's like right after it's right after Finney dies that he sees Furrington again.
Oh, okay.
So, after Finney dies, he's in the house, and I think he's by the staircase.
Yes.
And he hears a voice, and then he sees Mr. Furrington, the teddy bear. But he's like 8 feet tall or something. Like, he's huge. And is it here where he asks Sarah if she can see him too, and Sarah lies and says she can, but she can't?
Yeah. We don't know for sure.
Well, because don't we get it from we get some of their thoughts.
She says no, and then she says, oh yeah, there he is. So I don't know if...
But I think later on, whenever it's talking about her trying to escape, she thinks about the fact that, like, oh, I didn't actually see anything there, but I lied.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember that, but it's not important.
Yeah. It doesn't...
I mean, obviously, she can't see him. It's all in his head.
Yeah.
So, while all this is going on at the house, Sarah decides she's going to run through the fields to get to... I think it's Esther is her name. Esther's family's house. And as she's running through this cornfield, she starts to see blood on the corn, and she sees something that she thinks is like a dead squirrel. And when she comes out of the cornfield, she sees Jeremiah's body. And she realizes it wasn't a squirrel, it was his face.
Was it his face?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was his scalp, but...
Well, I don't know. But it was his face.
It might be. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Maybe it's both. I don't know. So, she freaks out and goes back home. And she sneaks in Rye's bedroom window, and he is so mad at her for coming back until she tells him that Jeremiah is dead. I was saying this was when they saw Furrington, but you're right, it was earlier.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if she actually thinks anything about it, but he does kind of force her to say that she can see him.
Yeah.
Because he keeps asking, like, do you see? And then he describes, like, oh, he's got a big blue bow tie and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing we didn't mention is Furrington only has one leg, because when he was in the forest, when he was a kid, he bit one of his legs off and set it on fire as, like, a torch. So you got this 8-foot teddy bear hobbling around on one leg. You know what? We completely forgot a part. So back when he was a kid, the way he actually got away from Martin and survived was that he stabbed Martin in the neck with Scowler.
And that's where that broken pipe foot thing is.
Yes.
That's the part he stabbed
him
with.
So it was like a... what do you call those things? I know what I want to say, but, like, it was kind of like I've got in my mind, like, what you put in a tree to get sap out of it, like, to get, like, for maple syrup, like, to get the sap out, like, that leg is
It's not a spigot.
I don't remember what it's called, but that's what I kind of picture. Yeah. That's kind of what I picture that he stabbed him in the neck with.
Yeah.
I can't believe we forgot that part. But then he also sees Jesus when he's in the bathroom with Martin. Jesus is in the shower.
And he's also huge, like 8 feet tall.
Yeah. And he's trying to, like, Rye keeps kind of asking for advice, and Jesus just kind of didn't really give him any.
But this is where... Have we been saying Martin?
Uh-huh.
It's Marvin.
You told me Martin.
I know, that was my bad. But this is where Marvin tells him about the toy he had as a kid. Who... Is it...
Scalper Jim?
Yeah, Scalper Jim. I wanted to say Injun Joe, but I think that's from something else. Anyway, so...
Is it Injun Joe from...
Yeah. So, anyway, so Scalper Jim was a little Indian, like a Native American figure he had that he used to play with. And so...
That always won every battle. He never lost.
Yeah. Even when he was the last this is from the book. Even when he was the last surviving member of his tribe, he'd buy his time and pick off the cowboys one by one. Scalper Jim left no prisoners. He lived up to his name.
Yeah.
And so that brings us back to the thing earlier we were talking about, where that squirrel thing with the scalp missing. It's Marvin being Jim.
Yeah. So I don't remember where we're at. Sarah's back.
Sarah's back where?
She's back at the house because she freaked out.
Yeah, she gets back. And he lets her in through the window.
Yeah.
To sneak back in.
Yeah. So it kind of all starts to come to a head. And Marvin, I might as well call him Martin by this point in the podcast.
Yeah.
Is going after JoBeth. And they have this old chained dog. It didn't really seem like a collar to me. Like, it was more like a metal clamp type thing. Like I feel like it was more like the end of a ball and chain that you would clamp on. Like, not like a normal collar dog tie out. Like, I would never use it on my dog. And so Sarah has snuck back out the window, and Marvin is going after JoBeth.
She snuck back in through the window?
No, she snuck back out. She goes back out the window because as he's running across the yard chasing JoBeth, she clamps that thing around his ankle so he can't move. He can't go any further.
Okay. When does she end up in the attic? Is that the window she crawls out of? Is the attic window? Because when she gets back to the house, Rye takes her up to the attic.
She never goes in the attic.
Okay.
He tells her to, but she never goes in the attic.
Okay. Is that when she goes out the window?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
He doesn't know that either. I don't think she goes out his window, but she goes back outside.
Yeah.
And so we didn't mention the white dress. And so this white dress, and I can't remember what they call it, but this white dress is a project his mom has worked on forever. And it's just kind of, when she would do a project and she'd have leftover beads, she would add it to this white dress. And it started out being in the living room, but it got so big and took up so much space and needed to be protected that she moved it to the attic. But every time she would do a project, she would add on to this. And it was kind of like the one special thing that she had, and the kids, the kids respected it. And so they end up in the attic because...
And did you say that Rye is the one that brings it up? The attic?
No.
Because, like, Jesus and Farrington are both there, and they're talking to him.
He hits his mom before this, too, doesn't he? This is when he smacks her.
I think so.
In his bedroom.
I think so. But he's talking to Jesus, and Jesus says, "Oh, your dad will never suspect the attic." And then Rye kind of freaks out and is like, "Oh, you said attic." And then that's when Marvin realizes, he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about the attic."
So for that, Sarah goes into the room and she's asking, JoBeth goes into the room and she's asking where Sarah's at. And Rye just kind of gets ticked at her and slaps her across the face.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready to hit her again, and then Marvin comes in. And that's when that happens with the attic. So they all go up and...
and before that, they tried... I don't remember if they succeeded doing it, but they were trying to drug Marvin's whatever drink it was with aspirin so he would bleed more if they hit him.
they never got it done, he wouldn't drink it.
Okay.
And so they go up into the attic, and Marvin sees the dress and completely freaks out on JoBeth. And he takes scissors and makes Rye cut this dress up.
So, when they're... Okay, sorry. But when they're in the place and he slaps his mom, she slaps him back and it's about to hit him again, and that's when Marvin comes in. So, anyway, that's...
Okay, so they're up in the attic, and Marvin makes Rye take the scissors and cut up this dress that means the world to his mom. And then I don't remember what happens, but I know somehow somebody gets hurt because they use the material to stave off their wound, off the bleeding. And this is when he chases Rye outside.
So after Rye cuts up the dress, and it says it takes like hours. And so once he finishes cutting it all up, his mom and dad both go down a ladder out the window.
It's the ladder that he left out there.
Yeah.
Fix the window.
And
have the window shut.
Yeah. And so they go down, and he's up in the attic by himself, and he sees a box. I don't know if it's a shoebox or what they say it is, but there's a box sitting there. And he picks it up and opens it, and there's the Unspeakable 3.
That's what they're called. Unspeakable.
Which is, the Scowler, Furrington, and Jesus. His mom never actually burned them. She just put them in a box in the attic.
And so this is where Sarah catches the dad in the dog trap.
Yes.
The dog chair.
Yeah.
And Marvin is not happy by that. And so Rye finally steps up and he murders his own father.
Well, not just murders him. It kind of is like... So, the whole time, Marvin is hallucinating... Scalper... What is it? Scalper Jim. The whole time, Marvin has been hallucinating Scalper Jim and that he is Scalper Jim. And Rye is hallucinating all these different people. And now he's hallucinating that he is Scowler.
Right.
And so he actually starts eating his dead dad.
Right. Well, I didn't say it. I ain't got that far yet. I just said he murdered him.
Yeah. But the battle they have, it's... The way it's described is it's not Marvin and Rye. It's Scowler and Scalper Jim.
Right. And so... The book kind of ends with Rye realizing that he's his dad.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Because he could have been Jesus or he could have been Furrington, but he chose to be Scowler.
So, the mom ended up with the shotgun at some point. JoBeth did.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rye ends up taking it from her to go check on Snickety because he is laying on his side and it doesn't look like he's breathing. So when Rye goes over there to check on him, he's barely alive, which that's the dog, to be clear, and Snickety is. And so he decides he's going to put the dog out of its misery. And that's kind of how the book ends.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that part.
Yeah. But
we don't like animal violence.
But it does mention here at the end, it talks about how he let that one moment in the woods define his life. For 9 years, he let that define his life. And even though he did these horrible things, he's not going to let one moment define his life anymore. So I kind of see it as him breaking the cycle of violence. Like, even though he had to kill his father, he's not going to perpetrate it anymore.
I don't know.
Or it could be that he's now...
I didn't get that.
Okay.
Between him slapping his mom and then killing his dad, like, I feel like he was leaning more into that part.
Into his dad,
psyche.
yeah.
Like, more into the Scowler part of who he was.
Yeah, eating your dad's pretty hard to come back from.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
So what do you think of the book overall? It's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's a interesting exploration of the human psyche and how it can snap. And I don't know how accurate it is for real medical mental illnesses.
I don't either, but
Did
I
you?
think it's sad that, like, what was his kind of crutch and saving grace after everything with his dad turned against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the Scowler part of himself is the part that saved himself when he was a kid.
Yeah. And it saved him now.
But it also kind of doomed him if that's who he's going to be.
Have you read, I don't think you have, you haven't read Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman, have you? That is a book that's about a guy with, I think it's schizophrenia, and Neil Shusterman has someone in his family, and he based the book off of stuff that that person in his family that has schizophrenia went through. And in a lot of ways, and that book's not really a horror book, but in a lot of ways, this book reminded me of that. Where,
I like Neil Shusterman.
Yeah, but it's just you never know what's going on in anyone else's mind.
Right.
And I mean, abuse begets abuse.
It kind of reminded me of part of Backrooms.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into that because it's such a new movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, for him to be so young and to have
so much trauma.
Like, my kids have, you guys have had some trauma, not this severe, but and you know, some of my children have talked to therapists and they've been through some pretty severe stuff, some pretty like
traumatic
severe psychological stuff, and it just breaks my heart to somebody 19 years old, that's your sister's age, for him to, I mean, I just feel like, and I know it's a book, but he's gonna have to change a lot of his I can't say that word.
Trajectory.
Thank you. In life to be able to overcome all of this.
Yeah.
See, he ends up kind of telling Jesus and Furrington off, like...
Yeah, and the way it ends with him getting ready to shoot the dog, he's like, I want to be the one that buries my dog.
Which is something his dad had said throughout the book. Like, this is my dog. He even says at one point, my dog's not going to die if I'm not here to bury him.
Yeah, and I think both his mom and his sister are afraid of him by the end of the story.
I think so, too.
The way he killed his dad, and he was eating him. Yeah. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah. And I kind of think they mention that, and I may be wrong, but I think they kind of mention that it looks like Jeremiah looks like he's been eaten.
Yeah. And so it's just not... I mean, it's not really a happy ending.
Not at all. Not at all. And when you first suggested this one, you were talking about the meteorite, and I thought that it would have a lot more, like...
to do with it.
I was expecting, like, aliens or something.
I'm wondering if the radiation kind of...
I think that's what they were getting at with the headaches.
But I think it escalated everything.
Yeah, and throughout the whole book, like, Joe Beth keeps asking Marvin, like, we've all got headaches. You really don't have a headache? And he kept saying no, but I really think that, like, it's affecting him, too. Especially once he started carrying that piece that broke off with him.
Well, and one thing I want to mention about this book, the entire thing is written from a third-person, limited perspective. But it focuses on different characters in different chapters, so you get some glimpses into their mind.
Yeah.
And I think when you get glimpses into Marvin's mind, he talks about having a headache.
Yeah. I think so. So I like this one. I would recommend it for something...
I don't know if I would shelve it in young adult. Like, it's considered young adult by a lot of places online. I don't think I would. I think the only reason that they put it there is because the main character's 19. Because the stuff that happens in it is... a lot worse than even some of like the Stephen King books I've read.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
See, that's why it surprised me when you said that earlier that it's young adult.
Because I mean, it's got themes of abuse and...
I don't think he's known as a young adult author.
I don't think so either.
Because I know the only other book of his I know off the top of my head is one called Rotters, and I know that one is not.
Yeah, well, and even on the front it says author of Rotters on here.
And I think I may have that one somewhere. But it's not young adult.
Yeah.
So it just kind of surprises me that they would label this one that way.
I genuinely think it has a lot to do, because there's one, there's a series that is in the young adult section at our public library that has graphic sex scenes in it. But it doesn't happen till like the 4th book or something. And so what a lot of libraries did is, as they were coming out, they shelved them in young adult. So when the new one comes out, they just put it in young adult, but it has more adult themes in it. I mean, like, it has sexual stuff in it.
Right.
But the other books didn't, and so they were shelved in young adult. So now that one's shoved in young adult.
Well,
and so I think...
I mean, look at Harry Potter. Not that Harry Potter has explicit sex, but you go from, you know, this 11-year-old boy going to school with his friends to the end where all heck breaks loose. Like, they're not...
I just don't think I would have put Scowler in young adult.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Harry Potter, I don't really know if you could say those are all young adult. Or those are all, you know, like... So I could see that. But I would definitely not have put this one in young adult. So,
like I said, it's more graphic than probably some of the Stephen Kings I've read.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I do have to say the scene where he cuts his mom off the mattress is probably one... Which this is the second time I've read this, and I did not remember that, but this is probably something that's going to stick with me for a long time, because that...
I know I mentioned it so many times, but the fact that he ate his father after he killed him is what...
Yeah.
That has stuck with me.
Yeah, but I just, like, I look at you, and I'm like, I can't imagine you having to come in and cut me free from the mat. Like, there's no dignity in that. Not that she had any... Like, it's not her fault at all, but... That had to be so humiliating for her.
Well, and you know we just did the Blackmouth book.
Yeah.
And there were things in here with the abuse, with that kind of thing, that reminded me of that book.
Yeah. Yeah. So, highly recommend this one.
I've heard the audiobook is really good, too. I haven't listened to it, but I've heard that the narrator does a really good job with it.
I didn't know there was an audiobook, so...
Yeah, I don't remember the person who read it, but... From what I saw, it sounds like he's a popular one.
Well, if you have young kids, don't let them listen to this one.
No.
But, yeah, check it out. So, next week will be our 6-month check-in on favorites for the year.
Yes.
And then July, we're starting, I loved how you said it last week, our Shark Week month.
Yes.
Ghost Shark, Mississippi River Shark.
Trailer Park Shark.
Trailer Park Shark. And then our book is The Deep by Nick Cutter.
And we may end up doing more shark movies depending on how much time it takes to talk about some of them.
Yeah. So we will see you next week for favorites.